Hello, I'm novelist and existential psychologist Jason Diaz. Today we're talking about The Girl with Ghost Eyes by Matthew Boroson, and the title of this column is, Where Do Ideas Come From? When you're a writer, eventually people start asking you where your ideas come from. It hasn't really happened to me yet because barely anyone knows I'm a writer. But it happens to Matthew Boroson. The Girl with Ghost Eyes is a story about sorcerers, monsters, and spirits in the closing days of the 19th century. San Francisco's Chinatown creaks and groans, a fully realized place through which the characters roam, race, and chase. The story is a bit like an old Run Shaw movie, if said movie were written, directed, and produced on synthetic mescaline. Boroson has to answer the question pretty frequently, and the answer isn't very sexy. Sometimes writers get tired of the question. I think said writers are spoiled with enthusiastic readers, and they should consider a quick count of their blessings. But folks come up with pat or pretty answers because reality, it isn't that interesting. If reality were great, then we wouldn't read stories in the first place. So they say, oh, my muse comes along when I bribe her with chocolate, or my mom died in 1975 and I do it all for her, or I had a dream. Writers are usually lying when they tell you these things. It isn't easy. Our heads are rarely brimming with subject matter. Inspiration doesn't happen on a morning walk and then last through the weeks or decades it takes to get the words down on paper. Ideas come to those who work hard on them. Matthew Boroson reads a lot. He reads all sorts of obscure books on Chinese mythology, culture, and history, and no few biographies. Hundreds of books, tens of thousands of pages. He talks to people about their folklore and mythology, religion and belief systems. All the stories, all the times. Sometimes he even watches Run Shaw movies. Write what you know is easy advice to bandy about. But what do you know? No, really. What do you know that is interesting, that you're passionate about, that you're an expert about? Boroson wrote this crazy story about a young Chinese exorcist in San Francisco's Chinatown. He wrote what he knew. His ideas came from a little bit of inspiration. His passion drove him through enough research for a couple of master's degrees. No muses that need bribery with chocolate. Probably a few dreams induced by living in dusty books. No tragedy or trauma meant to create sympathy. Hard work. The result is actually a pretty great book. It reads easily. The stakes are clear in the first few pages and keep escalating all the way. The lead character, Xian Lilin, is heroic not because she is imbued with superpowers, but because she's willing to risk everything. The story even has important existential dimensions. Most readers identify with a ghostly eye who looks out for a Xian, Mr. Yanxiu. My favorite is a man who was born a tiger. He is doomed to forever be haunted by the last person he has killed, much like poor David Kessler in An American Werewolf in London. But the last person he killed turned out to be a Buddhist living saint who has, over decades, helped the tiger ascend from his baser being into something more noble. This is the result of work. And it comes with my hearty recommendation.